here it is, Liberty.
Yep, that's it.
So this left an impression on you then.
Yes, it did. Always when you're in crypto or any investment, make sure you do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Rory. Don't listen to any of these people on Twitter that have check marks. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusion. And if you decide it's great for your portfolio, then add it in, regardless of what people say about it.
This is not investment advice. We are merely curious and in conversation. Good morning, world. Welcome to Be in the Moment. I'm delighted to speak today with my new best friend. That's Nitemarekhawk. Nitemare, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Rory. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I've been listening to your podcast. It's on Spotify.
Yes.
And I can tell the audience that you are an informer, an educator, and a podcaster in the realm of finance, as well as life and spirituality. And with finance, you do look at the whole economy, and you also give some advice on the charts and different cryptos. I got a kick out of listening to your podcast, and I think you do that every week.
Yeah, I do it once a week. The reason why I do it once a week or every couple of weeks is because I've always learned from people that told me, like, when I first got into podcasting, that you want your fans to miss you, technically. So you don't want to do it every day because people get bored of it. But if you do it like maybe once a week or every 2 weeks, then people are like craving for more. They're like, hey, when are you going to do the next one? So, yeah.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. Well, I listened to the one that had the title about just got married.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's on Spotify. If anyone's interested, you can look up Nitemarekhawk Gaming, and you will find his channel there on Spotify. So now I'm following you and also the Jack Liu podcast on Spotify.
Gotcha. Thank you for the support.
Yes, definitely. And congratulations on your recent wedding to both you and your wife.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming. We've been knowing each other since high school, so it was very in the cards.
Wonderful. Yes. And I really enjoyed your marriage advice and different anecdotes that you shared just about your wedding, your hometown, and also good tips for folks that will get married or are married soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a dating coach or anything, but just thought I'd tell people from the experiences, from things I've seen.
And that's why I think your podcast is a lot of fun and something that everyone could enjoy every week, because you do go off on a variety of topics that are relevant to the individual.
I mean, I try to keep the gaming and crypto, but sometimes you got to bring in other topics, guys. You definitely want to keep the podcast in a timely fashion. I've seen some podcasts, it's be like 3 hours. And I'm like, how the heck can you talk for 3 hours? That's ridiculous.
So I have a video of when we first met. It was back in April at the BTC conference. There was a party thrown by Robin DeLisser and at Crypto Vigilante, and it was at the Treehouse there in Miami. And you walked in the door, and the first thing I noticed was your T-shirt. So tell us about that night.
Yeah, so I mean, it was very interesting. I was actually surprised at the Monero and the BSV. And for those of you who don't know what BSV is, it's Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, which is the real Bitcoin as I've been promoting for the past couple of podcasts is, the one that really follows the white paper. And if you read the original white paper in 2008 or 2009, I read in 2009, but you will see that it talks about Bitcoin and what it was supposed to be: peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. It says it right under the title, for God's sakes. So when you're seeing BTC now promoted by Michael Saylor and all the pumpers out there, Pompiano and all those people, that's not Bitcoin. BTC does not work by peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. But going back to that night, it was amazing. It was absolutely beautiful. I was actually shocked we got invited because the Monero community is more of an underground cyberpunk, liberal movement that's kind of against government. So, I don't really believe in libertarian ideology. I mean, I believe in some of it, but not the whole concept. But it was amazing to meet you BSV people. It was amazing to meet you, Rory. A lot of the BSV women of BSV. It was great to meet them as well. So, I mean, I was actually shocked. I mean, I thought we were going to get thrown out because, again,
I know. Here, let me
but
share the screen. I'll show that night.
Thank you, Steve. So nice to meet you. Okay, great. Let's see. Pardon me. Were you at the conference today? You were at the Bitcoin conference? You weren't. Okay, but what is your interest in Bitcoin? Are you interested at all?
I mean, Bitcoin is a good store of value. I don't use it personally. I use Monero.
Oh, okay. Let's see your T-shirt. Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So but you weren't at the conference today because we were wanting to know about the speakers. They just didn't improvise.
So when it comes to Monero, I like it because it's the closest thing to digital. It's the closest thing to digital cash that you have. So it's an alternative to cash. It's digital cash. You can use it pretty much anywhere as long as you have a digital wallet like Trust Wallet or Edge Wallet or Free Wallet. Transact peer-to-peer, and one XMR equals one XMR. It's fungible, and there's no history with XMR at all.
Thank you, and then hopefully you can come on our show again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
sure.
I know the minute you walked in the door, Robin DeLisser was there welcoming you. And then I was there doing the live stream from the Women of BSV. And I didn't have headphones or anything, but we were doing it on the fly. And I'm so glad we caught it on film because that's when I first met you. And I was surprised as well to have enjoyed speaking with so many folks from Monero. So sometimes the crypto people can be a bit intense. It's very my way or the highway. But what I found at that party that night is that we were these two cliques merging. And it was a great tapestry almost where we could all be true blue ourselves. See, there you are. You just walked in the door. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh, there's Robin partying on. That was great. So, yes, there's Joshua Hensley and Manifestable. It was just a great night.
Yeah, it was an awesome night.
Yes. So I was well impressed meeting you. And also there was another Monero pro there who was talking about selling coffee using Monero. And it seemed that a lot of the Monero folk, they really cared about the functionality or the utility of a system and how it could be used for instant payments across the internet and for microtransactions. So is that true?
Yeah, a lot of people in the Monero community believe in decentralization, peer-to-peer electronic digital cash, which what Bitcoin was supposed to establish when it was supposed to scale back in 2009. I believe it was 2013 or 2012, one of those where the code was changed somehow, and then it became this pump and dump scheme. But the original design of Bitcoin was to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash. And when Monero came out in 2014, it was to do what Satoshi envisioned crypto to be. But it took the privacy stance about 3 years later, according to Mastering Monero, which is a book I'm reading right now on Monero, which I think I think everybody should get if you really want to understand Monero to a certain degree. But right there in 2017, they established ring signatures because they thought it needed to be more private. As we're seeing now with dystopian going on all over the world, you have stealth addresses, that gets minted on a blockchain to, shield users, public key and things like that. And then you also have, I forget the other thing they call it. Let me see here. Give me a second.
Sure thing.
It's called covert or cov. And that is basically a link between transaction and physical location. So it actually blocks the physical location because every crypto transaction on a blockchain actually has an IP address. And that and like people like what is they called? Chain analysis can actually pinpoint your location by using that on the blockchain because they keep an eye on the blockchain, like with algorithms, stuff like that. So they can pinpoint your location. If they ever feel like you've done something illegal on the blockchain, then they can find where you are and boom, they can either arrest you or take you in. So that's one thing the Monero community always talked about is privacy. Make sure nobody knows how much Monero you have, making sure nobody knows where you are, which is great. And Monero is going to get a fork upgrade here August 13th. It was supposed to happen in July, but they pushed it back. There was some issues with the network, so they had to deal with that, make sure it's ready to go. So August 13th, that's when that will take place, and I can't wait for that. Bigger ring signatures, faster transaction times. So that's going to be awesome.
Wow, interesting. Okay, great. So maybe you could come on again for the fork. We could have a kind of moment where we celebrate the fork, according to you. And you could tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yay, great. Thank you. Wow. So this is all news to me. Now, I really, like I said, I kind of just didn't pay attention to Monero simply because the people that I saw that were promoting it, they seemed so my way or the highway. They thought that, they should be in charge of everything and, anybody else was just a fool. And so I think that meeting you has really opened my interest into Monero, discovering what it is, and also just more of the world out there, the crypto world. There could be a lot of great people and a lot of great projects that even though we may have differences of opinion, we can still learn from each other and become stronger together.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yes, I will say there are a lot of hardcore maximalists in the Monero community. It is Monero the highway. Trust me, I'm in the Telegram group with them. We argue all the time, so it's fine. And like I said, look, I'm not afraid to go on any podcast and talk about different cryptos. I do it on my podcast as well because I think diversification is very important, especially when you look at some of the millionaires and billionaires that are in crypto. Some of them actually have the other cryptocurrencies. Now, yes, do I like Monero? I like it a lot. Is it a perfect crypto? Absolutely not. There's a lot of problems with Monero, absolutely. And those are going to get worked out by the devs. The Monero community has already pointed this out. It's just going to take time for that to happen. I mean, look it. I have a Shiba Inu dog as my profile picture, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. I mean, that should tell you everything right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Shiba Inu dog, and it's I'm a big fan of Shiba Inu too. I like their community as well, but like the point dating back to Monero in general, it's for peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. Me to you, Roy. No Bank of America, no JP Morgan, no other intermediaries involved. It's from me to you. Now, Monero does mine a block every 2 minutes, which is great. Now, I know Satoshi, aka Craig Wright, he's talked about Bitcoin Satoshi vision. It's going to knock out BTC and all these other cryptos. We'll see. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes. And is the Shibu Inu? How do you say that?
Shiba Inu?
Shiba Inu. Okay. Yes. So is the Shiba Inu coin, is that the Dogecoin? Is that the same thing?
It's a rival to Dogecoin. So Shiba Inu is supposed to be the Dogecoin. It calls itself the Dogecoin killer. So it's supposed to be the one that knocks off Dogecoin. But some people have called it a copycat. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Shiba Inu is creating their own metaverse. They're already into gaming. But I need Shiba Inu to get off Ethereum's blockchain. I need them to get off that. Now they are working on their own blockchain. It's called Siberium. We'll see when that's going to be released. Hopefully this fall or this winter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm waiting for Shiba Inu to fall down the ranks, and then I'll buy back my 100 million Shiba Inu tokens.
Wow.
But right now, I'm just waiting.
And what's the approximate price or dollar value of Shiba Inu?
Shiba Inu right now, let's take a look on CoinMarketCap. Let me see. Give me a second here. All right, Shiba Inu is at 114 millions of 1 penny.
114 millionths
Of 1 penny, yes.
of 1 penny is the going market rate in dollar form for a Shiba Inu token.
Yeah, it's 0.00001156 currently. It's ranked number 17th on the charts.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you ever view it in another currency, say a currency of the world that has a lower relation to the dollar?
I think Shiba Inu personally can replace the penny personally in the world.
Really? How
Yeah.
interesting. So what's your vision there?
I think with a lot of countries adopting, I don't know if you read the crypto news on Sunday, but Philippines and Mexico are adopting Shiba Inu. So yeah, a lot of
Really?
people, yeah, a lot of people.
How are they adopting it?
Well, because in those countries, you got to think about it. They don't make a lot of money as we do here in the United States or Canada. So they have to find a crypto that they can afford. A lot of people in Mexico make about $200 a day. A lot of people in the Philippines make around about maybe $30 a day. So they need a crypto that they can make themselves feel like they have wealth. So Shiba Inu, with its 1 quadrillion freaking token supply, now cut down to 500 trillion, because they gave half the freaking Buterin from Ethereum, the co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik. They gave it to him, and then he donated to the Indian Relief Fund. So that's how the token supply got cut in half. But anyway, back to the Philippines and Mexico. See, they make only a certain amount of US dollars per day. So for them, they're not going to keep it in their bank account, because we've seen all over the world what banks are doing to these people. They're shutting their bank accounts, they're closing them down. They're not giving these people their money. So why would I, in a country like Mexico or Philippines, trust a bank? No, I'm going to find a crypto that I can own the private keys, and I'm able to transact, with merchants in my local area. So if I could take $30 and I could buy, I don't know, 1 million Shiba Inu tokens, I feel like I got wealth. I feel great. I took my $30 and turned it into 1 million. There you go.
Of the Shiba Inu.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's all about use. So if the people in your neighborhood are using that token or that coin, then it could be useful to people there, no matter what kind of system it's built on then, I guess. Just like we could use seashells, like back in the day. So this is, such fun to hear about all the news that you're aware of. But let's take it back to the beginnings. I heard on your podcast that your hometown is Rochester, New York.
It is.
Beautiful. Well, I spent time up in Rochester a couple years ago, and I was building up a team, an office there for a partner of one of our clients. And I spent time up there. I spent several weeks in winter up in Rochester, and it was downtown Rochester. So it was very beautiful, to see all the old buildings, the classic style. I discovered it was the hometown both of Kodak as well as Xerox.
Yep.
So tell us all about where you come from and your journey into crypto.
Oh, okay. So Grew up in Rochester, New York. Spent there a long time. Um, and pretty much like for me, I've always saw myself moving out of Rochester. That's why I'm close to Albany now, where I am currently. But but yeah, like getting into crypto, I was actually in college when crypto actually came out, when the BTC white paper came out by Satoshi Nakamoto. Shout outs to him, or the group if you want to go that far. But yeah, like I was in college, I was at my job, and I was looking on my laptop, and I saw this big B and a freaking like gold coin pop up on the screen. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And then it said Bitcoin, and I'm like, what the hell is Bitcoin? So I searched up on Google at the time, 2009. I think it was around like February, and I was looking at this thing, and I was reading the white paper. I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. And I started telling my friends about it, and I said, hey, this Bitcoin thing could actually blow up, man. You might want to get some. Now, at the time, I didn't buy any because I didn't know where to buy from. You know, you had Mt. Gox and stuff going on at that time, and I didn't really trust exchanges too much. But I never bought BTC or Bitcoin at the time. I didn't buy Bitcoin. I didn't buy crypto until 2011 when Litecoin came out. And I said, okay, this is a lighter version of Bitcoin and faster transactions and lower cost. I'm like, I'll buy this one. I think this one can be better. Now, we all seen Litecoin hasn't really performed as well, but, you know, it's still sticking around. But, yeah, I've just been in crypto for a long time. I moved from crypto to crypto. When other ones come out, I jump to them. I start reading white papers, deciding, okay, can this be electronic digital cash? Because I've always been the type of crypto person that I need something that I can take my dying dollars and put in something that I can control. Because I don't trust banks. I don't like banks at all. So for me, crypto is a way for me to be my own banker. So I've always looked for a digital cash system, whether it was Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dogecoin. Yes, I was a Doge person at one point. XLM, you know, Stellar Network, XRP, any of those networks, you know, stuff like that. But then finally, Monero came out in 2014, and that really, really made me happy because I was like, oh, it's really doing what Bitcoin was supposed to do. So I'll use this for a while. But then in 2018, my buddy told me, hey, you might want to get rid of Monero. Government's going to shut it down. They're probably going to come to this. They're probably going to come here and arrest you. You might want to get rid of this coin. I said, okay. So I got rid of it, went back to BTC, started using electronic digital cash. I'm like, this thing is too slow. Let me go to XLM. So I used XLM for a while, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. Does 1 million transactions per second. Freaky sells on the blockchain in 2 to 3 seconds. This is perfect. And then as the world started getting really dystopian, I said, okay, I may need to go back to Monero because if the elites can see all of my transactions on this blockchain, I need to go somewhere there's privacy. So that's brought me back to Monero.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that's a great point. You know, in preparation for us meeting today, I went on LinkedIn. I thought, oh, I wonder if there's any Monero people on LinkedIn. I thought that would be rare, possibly. And so I just searched Monero. And then an article came up, and there were all these people commenting on an article talking about how Bitcoin was anonymous. And they were going on and on talking about how it would never work out because it's anonymous, yada, yada, yada. And I said, it's pseudonymous. It's pseudonymous, not anonymous. And then they tried, you know, the one guy said, oh, yeah, I just started changing the topic. He says, oh, just like BitGold, you know, and I just stayed on the point. I wasn't distracted by a change of subject. I just said, this article is saying that Bitcoin is anonymous, and that is not true.
It's not.
I think that there is a lot of misinformation out there, you know, just everything to do with Bitcoin and then all of the different altcoins. It's full of mystery. So it's like a mystery soup. You know, people say, oh, you should try this delicious stew. And then people look in, they say, well, what's in it? And then they say, oh, it's got pork, and then they say, oh, I don't eat pork. Oh, well, it's got beef. Oh, okay. Are you sure? Is that really beef? And you're just looking at the stew, and a lot of people are like, I'll pass. I'll go have a sandwich. I know what's in a sandwich, and they just have no interest at all in crypto or Bitcoin or, anything to do with it. And then others, they take a bite and they say, woo, I like this. This has got that sauce. It's delish. And then they, start telling people about it. But, there's a lot mixed up in the stew. So it's hard to really tell what is the recipe. But yeah, I think having conversations and sharing them with our fellows and anyone that's interested is a great way to welcome everybody in and to make their own recipe too. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. The problem is that there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt FUD out there when it comes to Monero. I mean, yes, do cyber criminals use it for ransomware? Absolutely. But for people that say it's only for drug dealers, it's only for people who commit crimes, I'm like, wait a minute. The dollar is used the most for committing crimes. I mean, I've never seen, now I don't know about you, but I've never seen when people are buying marijuana, they're not exchanging Monero. I've never seen a drug dealer say, oh, yes, scan my QR code here, send me that Monero, and I'll give you your marijuana. I've never seen that before. I've been in a couple of marijuana shops. I've never seen that. So I don't know where this comes from.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is. Yeah, it's just one of the misconceptions about it is that it's anonymous, and it's not. And so therefore, Monero came out, and I believe the people who started Monero, they're famous, right? They're well known.
Well, it's a anonymous person actually came out with Monero, but then
is it? Okay. Did they use a pseudonym or
what's
no the Monero story?
From what I understand and from what I've read so far, there was a guy who actually made it, but what happened, he dropped the project, but then the community picked it back up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And then I remember from back in the BCH days, the Bitcoin Cash, that some of those guys, when I would go to their meetups in Atlanta, they would talk about coin mixers. And even people from the banks that were attending these events in Atlanta, they were very interested in the concept of coin mixing. And it's something that I've heard Craig Wright talk about, Dr. Wright, and that it's in fact illegal to do so. That's a form of money laundering, to mix your coins up. And Satoshi, have you ever watched Satoshi on YouTube?
I have.
You have? Okay, great. Yeah, I love Satoshi. He's one of my favorites with the charts. And he's real bombastic, but also very informative. So yeah, he says that, coin mixing is definitely illegal, and that because Bitcoin and many altcoins are not at all anonymous, they're on an immutable ledger system, they can be traced, and culprits have been caught by the FBI and others following the blockchain because it is so transparent that other folks are trying to do coin mixers. So that's what I had seen from Bitcoin Cash. There were some guys talking about coin mixing. And I think, well, why not just use Monero?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about coin mixing, it is illegal, but like, I never got into coin mixing. Like, I was one of those type of people. People call me a rebel all the time. I'm like one of those people that like dare the elites to do something about what I do when it comes to transacting. So when I used to use Bitcoin or anything like that, I mean, it's on there. So I'm like, well, if they come back later and say, hey, you bought this in 2017, we need our tax money. I'm gonna be like, well, I don't have it now, so I don't know. But going back to your point about coin mixing, I just never understood it. I thought it was too many steps. I just figured, hey, why not use Monero? It's much easier. It's by default. private, anonymous, and untraceable and untrackable. I mean, the IRS has been trying to break into Monero for 8 years, haven't been successful. They're willing to pay somebody $700,000 if they can crack Monero's code.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Good luck with that.
Golly, that's interesting. Yes. And so then again, the IRS, they've come out now with even the bio ID. I noticed that over these past few years, if you want to use their website when you're filing your taxes online, they have a bio ID system. So they themselves have gone really introspective into all the citizens. So also they do ask about any crypto holdings or earnings from crypto or Bitcoin. And in my case, I'm always transparent, but I have been, someone that has just started with buying Bitcoin Cash back in 2017 because it was easy to use. I thought, oh, I can do that. It seems legit. And I bought some using my credit card. That was back when Shapeshift was, one of the functionality partners of that process. Mm-hmm. And then I went onto purse.io and bought clothes. I bought a birthing ball and the Bitcoin Genesis block dress. And I bought a couple of t-shirts. And then that was the extent of it. I just had it and used it. And then when BSV came along, I was rather skeptical. And then I liked the idea of the SV node and anything technically related. So I thought, okay, I do like this. And following some people like Ryan X. Charles and Daniel Krowitz, I went ahead and trusted the people too involved. And so I said, okay, I'm going to make the switch. And I used Edge Wallet to exchange all of my BCH into BSV. And then from there, I have used Handcash to purchase some BSV, or I have even earned it from some projects that I've done. So it's like learning to earn BSV, but then I've also spent it. So producing a podcast and promoting it, I spent $5 worth of BSV on promoting through Twitch jobs. And that was real worthwhile spend. And then just last week, I bought an NFT companion from Gopniks. And so now I'm learning about, how can I sell this for a profit? It's my new experiment. So I think because I'm like very low cost, that maybe the IRS would not be interested in me. But what do you think?
I mean, they are working on tools. They've already announced that they're going to have by 2025 to be able to get all their back taxes for cryptos. Dating all the way back, I think, to 2017, they said in the article I read on cointelegram.com, if anybody goes to that website. But yeah, they're working on tools right now to be able to like go into exchanges and really be able to see, hey, you said you didn't have cryptocurrency, but it shows here that you did. Now, I like Edge Wallet as well. They're my favorite wallet. I've been with them for a long time. Yeah.
No way. Oh my gosh. Why?
Well, because they're really community driven. They're real nice. They have a customer service that's pretty awesome. Very helping. They have a Discord group as well. They're always throwing events in San Diego. So at their office, at their headquarters, which is great. Their CEO is very, very a Bitcoin maximalist, without question. He always talks about decentralization. Anytime you watch their freaking YouTube channel, he's always talking about decentralization. How when the Canadian truckers, Justin Trudeau asked him to give the Canadian government the keys to the truckers for their Bitcoin. He told them, we don't have them. Like, we don't have the keys. Even if we did, we wouldn't give it to you anyway. So I like the way Ed stood up to the Canadian government. And I like how they take the approach of, we don't give a damn about your agenda. We are going to protect our people that use our wallet. They are the owners of the keys. We don't have anything, so that was something that really made me happy. I was like, because I hit them up and I said, look, what are you going to do about these Canadians? Are you going to protect them, or are you just going to give all their information up to the Canadian government and screw these people over? And they came out with a whole thing. Like I said, we don't have anything. It's the people. They have the private key. We don't have any information. There's nothing we can do, And this wallet is not only just in America and Canada, it's all over the world. And that's what I love about Edge. Like, they pretty much have a reach all across the globe, which is absolutely amazing. So
wow.
That's awesome.
That is. I did not know that. That's great. That's great news to hear that. Yeah, because I think that they shut down the GoFundMes of the truckers.
They did.
Right. And then they said, you can't send them Bitcoin either. But I guess if it was on Edge Wallet, I'll have to look up that news. I do remember seeing the CEO of the Edge Wallet at an event in Atlanta. And I didn't go to that event, but I watched it live. And I thought, he seems like a good person, sincere, authentic, and, with sound mind. So I'll have to follow him and follow the wallet. I've really only used it when I have been in the process of buying anything. Here in the state of Georgia, it's restricted to make any purchase of Bitcoin or crypto online. And it used to be,
what?
Yes, it used to be open. So back when there was Bitcoin Cash in 2017, I could go online using my wallet and purchase it using credit card processing through Shapeshift. And then Shapeshift pulled out, they left. And then we switched to BSV, and I did use Handcash, but Handcash just recently established their on-ramps. And how it works is that in the state of Georgia, I think also in the state of Florida, you need to reply to a text message from your bank that says, is this fraud? And you reply no. And then they will allow you to complete the transaction of purchasing some BSV through Handcash. And sometimes it's not always a seamless process. So I found at a local grocery store one of those coin machines, where it's a legit coin machine. You can put your old pennies in and get dollars out from it.
Yeah.
And they also now sell Bitcoin. And I was so excited. So I went to this machine, I pressed the buttons, I got their wallet, and then I bought it in BTC. And then I put it in my Edge wallet. And from the Edge wallet, then I was able to change it into BSV, and then able to put it into my Handcash wallet or CentB wallet or Relay X wallet. Those are three big wallets in the Bitcoin SV scene. So is sharing this publicly too much information? Should I be keeping this under hat?
It's totally up to you. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. If you look for financial advice, please seek your local financial advisor. But
right, me neither, obviously.
but for me, like Edge Wallet, the number one reason why I keep Edge Wallet is because they are one of the very few wallets that respect Monero. Period. They respect
everyone.
Not necessarily. There are some.
Who don't they respect?
There are some cryptos I've seen on there that they don't have. Like, for example, there's a couple of the privacy coins that aren't on there, like Darrow, that's not on there, Haven. A couple of these other crypto projects, which I urgently argued in their Discord, we have to put more privacy coins on your wallet. It's not fair. Yes, you want to have the biggest one, which is Monero by market cap, but you want to have the other ones too. Come on. Some of these other I don't like to call them privacy coins. I like to call them freedom coins. They deserve some love too. I mean, having to have all these different wallets for all these different coins is crazy. I mean, I only have 2 wallets: Atomic Wallet, Edge Wallet. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Ah, okay. So, yes. Now, I wanted to ask you, because you have, since the party, you've become more involved, paying attention to BSV. So, what is the extent of your involvement now? Have you played any games on Haste Arcade?
No. What I've started to do is I went back and I said, let me go read this white paper one more time. This Bitcoin electronic peer-to-peer cash system, and let me compare that to VSV. Are these the same? Do they operate like the BTC white paper? Yes or no? And I went down a whole chart and I said, and I checked yes on every box. And I'm like, okay, going forward, BSV, I'm going to start letting people know is the real Bitcoin because it checks all the boxes that white paper talks about. It's peer-to-peer electronic cash. It runs pretty fast. It's very quick. And I just need more merchants to start recognizing BSV. Now, I've read that Dubai and a couple other countries in emerging markets are starting to recognize BSV, which is great. Now, I've seen some people in the BSV community on Twitter, and I'm not going to out you out, but I've seen you talk bad about Monero, and, you know, I'll deal with you on a later basis.
Oh, yeah. Satoshi for sure.
Yeah, I know. He hates Monero, but...
Yes.
But, you know...
He's all right.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get rid of Monero. It's going to be kind of tough. But back to BSV. If you want to use it the correct way. Get rid of your BTC. Use BSV. It's the real peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. People forget BSV got an all-time high of like $417 or $500, if I'm not mistaken, at its all-time high. So if you really want the real Bitcoin, use Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, BSV. Now, Satoshi calls it Bitcoin. I call it what its name is, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. That's just me, BSV. You know, but it is the real Bitcoin because it's peer-to-peer electronic digital cash.
Yes. And I know you mentioned in your marriage video that maybe, your wife is probably more accepting of norms. And I feel that way as well. I think, let's learn from everyone. And, the government, while I think that there's so many puppets that are put there, maybe they're funded and they just go in and they serve. It's not really civics focused always. I still think there are a lot of good people that are in there, that maybe they are sincere and we just might have different ideas about things. So one thing that I do value is the law. I think that in college, I did do an internship at the state capitol, and I was all excited to be there. And I was assigned to the environmental committees. And I was so excited to meet the leader of the Sierra Club. I thought, wow, this is going to be great. And then through my internship, I learned that the leader of the Sierra Club didn't actually participate in any of the meetings where legislation was being drafted. All that he did was sponsor protests outside where people made a big scene and they got in the newspapers. But he never went in to speak with any of the legislators. And who was speaking with the legislators but the lobbyists? And the lobbyists, they were cool people. I met them, I spoke with them. And lots of the major companies were also there in those committee meetings, and they were giving presentations. And the legislators said, we are not scientists. We are not mechanics. We are not the systems engineers. You need to speak simply so that we can understand what you're talking about. And then we will vote and we will on the legislation that has been drafted to the best of our knowledge. So I think that in many times with, things just seeming crazy, that might come out of government, many times it still could work. It's like Bitcoin. The system is there. Bitcoin, Satoshi Vision is here, it's scaled, and we can work and we can use it. But if we don't participate, if we just sit back and don't pay attention, then that opportunity is missed. And likewise, if we are not engaged in the system of politics of the government, then we really will miss the opportunity and let the freedom fade. So I think that while I understand these different ideas with privacy, such as with Monero, there could be more innocent patriots or innocent folks, innocent people who just basically want to be able to shop without being monitored all the time. And it's all about freedom. There are those people that are using these privacy coins or tokens, but then there are also criminals that use them. And there is need for regulation. I mean, not on everything, but at least to some degree, with FDIC, if you're investing in Wall Street, there could be lots of scams there as well, but at least you have some sense of accountability. So what I'm saying is BSB and the things that Craig Wright stands for in terms of the legality and the rule of law, following the law, I definitely appreciate that. And back to my internship, we read a book called The Oxbow Incident. And it was where in the Wild West, there were some wranglers and there was a crime that was committed and they didn't know who committed the crime, but a mob ensued. And then they ended up having a public hanging before the sheriff had arrived. And they did it in a mob sense. And so therefore, in the end, they did convict and hang the person that was innocent. So that to me is a lesson on the rule of law. Like, yes, there could be people out there like the Sierra Club leader who has a sign and gets people all riled up. But at the end of the day, it's tumbleweeds. What are they doing? Where's the practicality in it? So I really do value Bitcoin Satoshi Vision because it is working within the rule of law. And, some of my friends, they'll say, oh, but maybe they're corrupt. Maybe BSV can be corrupted. Maybe it can be a tool for, these people that want to control the world. So what do you think of that? Is there a way for an immutable public ledger to be psyoped and used by a bunch of, oppressive people?
Well, it depends on the mining power because we're already seeing it with BTC. I mean, look at all the venture capitalists who are mining Bitcoin. I mean, they've already kind of taken over that ledger, especially on chain with the with just the hash power. I mean, you have chain analysis that pretty much stares at the blockchain 24/7, which means they can link your IP address to you, your identity, which means if they wanted to, they could send the cops or the sheriff or the FBI to your house and be like, hey, we saw you bought these guns over here. What was the reason why you bought these guns? As a matter of fact, this already happened in freaking Australia, where a guy, he bought some guns with his Bitcoin, his BTC, and the Fed showed up at his door saying, excuse me, we need to know why you bought this artillery. What's going on here? And it's like, wait a minute. Like, I thought Bitcoin was, I own the private keys and you're not able to figure out who the heck I am. Well, no, sir, you're just pseudonymous, which means, yes, you're kind of freaking untraceable, but not really. Just all I have to do is link your IP address to your home and boom, I pinpoint where you are. Done. So I understand where Satoshi's come from. I get it. The rule of law, I understand law. And yes, I am for laws. I get it. But you got guys like the Bilderberg family that hates cryptocurrency. You have the World Economic Forum. You have Bill Gates that doesn't like it. They want control, period. That's why they want to come out with a central bank digital currency. I mean, it's already happened all over the world, but they want a one world currency that dominates everything. They want to be able to see everything that you do, be able to program it, what you can and cannot buy, how long you have to spend this money. They don't even want you having savings anymore in the future. They've already talked about this numerous of times. And now they've talked about speeding up their 2030 agenda, which they're doing currently. They've already talked about rewriting the Constitution already. They talked about this at the World Government Summit. If you haven't watched that, please go watch it. It is unbelievable. They already talked about the New World Order.
How can you watch it?
Oh, you can watch it on YouTube. You can look up World Government Summit Conference, and you can watch the whole thing. I think it's like a couple hours long, but it's very long. You can break it up in chunks too. But they said it just this past year, the World Government Summit. I mean, the video's been floating all over Twitter spaces, all over the place, all over the interwebs, where that lady came out and said the next way we're going to be as far as currency is going to be on blockchain, which means.
Is that Michelle Lagarde?
No, it wasn't Christine Lagarde. It was another female. I forget her name, but
Janet Yellen.
No. Okay. I'm not sure what the lady name was, but you'll see when you go watch the video. And they've also talked about how humans are hackable now. They're talking about putting stuff inside your body where they're able to track your mind and your thought processes before you're even able to really do any action. So there's a lot of things going on. Now, I think blockchain ultimately is a good thing, but these people want to use it for evil. And we all know science and technology can be used for good and evil depending on whose hands it's in. Now, I think what Satoshi wants to do is fantastic. Again, I agree with the rule of law. I'm not saying that we should have anarchy and chaos, but I do think there's a place for privacy coins, aka freedom coins, like I like to call them, in the crypto space because of people like myself. How do you think I got to Miami? You think I paid that with fiat dollars? Not at all. Monero paid for my trip. Monero paid for my apartment that I stayed in. Monero paid for the freaking plane ticket. Monero also paid for a lot of things at Monerotopia because that's all we accepted at Monerotopia was Monero. So it was great. That's how I got the Monero sunglasses.
Right. So is that because of your investment in Monero, then you use that to pay for the tickets and the travel expenses? Or is it that you were funded to go?
Oh, no. So I take my dying fiat dollars, as I said, and I move them to Monero. Always because I use Monero as digital cash. Now, there are some people in the Monero community that look at Monero as an investment. They saw I got to the all-time high of $517, and they didn't go higher. So they put their money in for a minute. I've always argued that Monero is not an investment, and you're a fool if you think that way. That's just me. That's just my thoughts. You can have a different opinion if you like. I think it's digital money. I think it gives me purchasing power. I'm able to use peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. I'm able to use it on different travel websites. They accept Monero as for payments on plane tickets, hotels. I think it's great. I like it a lot. So I use it as digital cash, always.
And have you seen what's happening on Twitter? I know that the former founder and CEO of Twitter talks a lot about programmable money. And also, what is it called again? It's some acronym about give everybody money.
Universal Basic Income, UBI?
Yes, that one, that UBI one. So what do you think of that? Have you been following it?
Yeah, I've been following it, and I know that this is the whole plan. Is to bankrupt pretty much all the nations across the world. Pretty much leave the people poor, desperate, and helpless. Where they run to their government for help. Well, the government has your solution. It's that programmable money. Sure, they'll give you the money. They'll give you the programmable money, but you're going to do as you're told. See, the thing is, they don't want you having savings. They don't want you having any control over anything. They want control over everything that you do. And just like the Rothschild once said, I forget which Rothschild's son said it, but I don't care who makes the laws as long as I control your money supply. And if they end up winning this war that we're in currently, this money war, which they want to get rid of cash, they want to ban cash from society, then we're trapped. And some of these decentralized cryptos are our saviors, but if you get into this program of money, let's take an example. So let's say the government says, Rory, we're going to give you a stipend, UBI, you get $5,000, you have 6 months to spend this money, and you can only spend this money on food and freaking vegetables. That's it. So Rory says, screw you, I'm going to go on a trip to Hawaii and with my BSV women friends, and you can't stop me. Rory tries to go on a website to use her CBDC. It doesn't work.
Right. Now, this one thing that I've done recently, I've had all these different jobs. One thing that I did was I worked in a grocery store as a cashier. And this was when I had been teaching English as a second language online. And then there was a government that shut that down. They didn't want the people outside of their country to be teaching their children online. So I went down the road. I started working at the grocery store. And it was not a fancy grocery store, but it was one that I really did love because they had a lot of different foods and spices there. It was, a really good place. But there were a lot of people at the grocery store that did use the, what is it called? EBT cards. In Georgia, in the state of Georgia, we call them EBT. There's EBT and WIC, and this is government assistance money so that people can buy groceries. So it was interesting for me working as the cashier because I would see what everyone was buying with their EBT. So I was very curious, what were they buying? Healthy foods? And even with the WIC is supposed to be for women with young children, so they can buy protein and dairy and fresh vegetables for their babies. And so that was fascinating to process those transactions. And there was this promotion going on where we could donate $1 to this a diabetes awareness charity. So I would ask every person in the line, would you like to donate $1 to this childhood diabetes? And even though the customers were often using EBT, the government spending, I would still ask every single person. And everybody said yes. They were just donating away. And I just kept asking, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people, they did say yes, and they did donate. Sometimes they donate $5. And the EBT card would not always work. I think it did work a couple of times on the donation, but typically they would just find $1 and hand it to me, So that was a great experience to witness that. But recently I was at Walmart, and I had, I walk a lot. So I had my book bag on, and I switched up to my big book bag because I was going to get some oat milk and some cranberry juice and, some oranges. And so I was going to carry this home, and it's pretty heavy. And so I switched to my big book bag. And when I did, I forgot to put my wallet in my bag. And I didn't realize it till I got to the checkout. So I'm at the checkout with my arugula and, I got some face masks and bath wash and some good things, some good food and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I'm there checking out, and I went to use the Apple Pay on my phone because I thought, oh my gosh, I forgot my wallet. So I took out my phone to do Apple Pay, and I'm picking up the pen. I'm like, how does this work? It's not responding. Well, anyway, the cashier came over, And she said, Walmart does not accept Apple Pay. They have Walmart Pay. And I said, oh, I can't get anything because I forgot my wallet at home. And she said, I got you. And she took out her EBT card and paid $50 for my groceries.
Wow.
And I was in shock. And I just was like, but it was a great lesson in charity for me, because, I have a standard where like I would never accept government money. I just think like I will hustle, I will work, and I will do well no matter what. And I will always make a way for myself. But in this moment, someone was charitable to me, and then they used that way to pay. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I'm kind of open-minded about it all now.
Yeah, I mean that's a real good gesture, and there's still good people in the world. But I wanted to go back to that program of money also. That the thing about program of money is that they've also said they want to put a chip in each human being's like hand or whatever. So that's where they could give you that program because obviously at some point they want to get rid of the smartphone, they want to get rid of debit cards, they want to get rid of credit, they want all that gone. They just want complete control. I mean, they've already started putting chips in people's brains. That's already started. That actually started earlier this month, the same week I was getting married. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know about you, Roy. I didn't sign up for Neuralink's human trials. I don't know if you did or not, but I did not. I decided not to, but that's just me.
Yes. Well, I didn't know there were trials out, but yeah, I have read about that. And I was very into, everything. But then I had experiences where I spent a lot of time with people who were a bit oppressive about it. So it was almost like if you didn't go on the conspiracy mindset with them to the level that they agreed with, then you were somehow a sheep, a dumb sheep. And it really repelled me from the whole entire scene because I thought, you know what? Everybody's been saying that we're going to have food shortages and we should stock up on food year after year. I went and I worked at the grocery store and I was close to the food supply, because then they made me the receiver. So I was checking in the vendors and I witnessed that there were no shortages. People would come in, they'd say, where are the saltine crackers? Is there a food shortage on saltine crackers? And I would go ask the manager, they'd say, yes, there's a shortage. And then later I'd find out, no, it's just the shipment is coming in next week. It's not really a shortage. And I think the whole thing with toilet paper was just some weird trick. I don't know what, that was crazy when people started to just go out and buy all the toilet paper. They had that, what is that? The FUD you mentioned, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then, of course, with what you mentioned about the chips. So people have put chips in their pets. There are people that have put chips in their pacemakers. There are people that have put chips in certain things for the use of the Internet of Things. And then there are people that have used chips in the brain like Neuralink. I think that it could possibly be something that could be used in different kind of futuristic things like in space. There could be possibly a way that you could use that, or with people that are unable to emote completely or move their limbs. There could be different use cases for those things. But I do recall that there was a patent out from Microsoft, and it was about a chip in the body tied to money. So, that to me, I still feel like Um, the whole thing about Bill Gates being some really smart person is a sham. I don't believe that he's that smart. I think that, it's like the whole geek chic thing. I think that, the really brilliant people don't have to be nerds. Like, brilliant people can be funky and be cool too.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just really strange with what's going on right now. Um, just in the world general. I mean, you saw Sri Lanka, the people protested, got that president out, but then they got a new president. And then I found out doing some digging that that new president for Sri Lanka is tied to the World Economic Forum, was really under their Young Global Leaders program. So I'm like, are we having Justin Trudeau part two again?
Mm. Yeah, and that, I know. Now the other thing is, I've watched a lot of stuff about Masons. Have you watched those videos about Masons trying to rule the world?
So the Illuminati or
yes, things like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I watched a few videos about them. They actually have a whole website. If you go to it, that you could actually go to their website, read up on their stuff there. George Washington was a Freemason as well. A lot of people don't know that, but he was.
Right. So
yeah.
I'm thinking maybe, and the other one is Manly Hall. Do you know that Manly P. Hall?
Never heard of that individual.
Okay, he gives these really interesting lectures. You can find him on YouTube. And he was supposedly a Mason. So now I'm thinking maybe the Masons are like some kind of personal development club that's secret.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, there's temples all over the U.S. I mean, I know there's a one in Boston for sure. I know that. I know there's one at Brown, the University of Brown. Yeah, there's yeah.
Right. So, but I've noticed from your posts that you are concerned. You do think that the collapse is coming and that these oppressive people are going to do whatever they can to control everybody and money. Is that right?
Yeah, I do truly believe that because they've said it out of their own mouths.
Mm-hmm. And so then in your case, you see a privacy coin like Monero as simply an alternative system that you could use to buy what you want and eat well and not be told you can't go on vacation.
Agreed, because it's untraceable and untrackable. And as the devs talked about at Monerotopia, the Monero devs that came out there, which was actually shocking to believe, because most of them are anonymous. They don't even show up to anything. But one of the lead developers did show up, and I asked him straight up, with quantum computer coming into effect, how are you and your team going to be able to handle, that quantum computing power that probably can crack Monero in the future, maybe 10 or 15 years from now? And he said, well, Monero always gets upgrades. We're always watching. So we'll be able to, he said, like, no one can predict the future, but we're going to do the best we can to make sure that doesn't happen. So I trust him. I believe him because it's been 8 years and IRS still hasn't cracked it. Chain Analysis hasn't been able to crack it. So I trust it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And with banks, I am also open-minded on banks. I see that even, all of us in America, anyway, most of us, we will use a bank. And even though there's nothing in the bank, it's all digital, and they can, it just shows up digitally on our bank account that this is here, and then we can spend it using our debit cards or our credit cards. And then sometimes we might get cash out and give someone a birthday card or, whatever we might want to use cash for in the hand, give tips. I think cash is essential. I think even if we were to put our national currency on a public blockchain like Bitcoin Satoshi Vision and have it tied even to gold, to have it be like a note for gold, I think that even then we could still use cash, because there's something so great about the tangibility of it. So would you think that putting a national currency on a public blockchain would be this Orwellian over control, or could it be a win for people too?
I mean, personally, for me, I'm a guy that stands for freedom, a human being that stands for freedom. I stand for personal choice. If you, as an individual or a group of people, think that would work, by all means, go for it. But my problem is, I don't want anybody to be able to see where I'm located or be able to go on there and go on the blockchain, just look around, see how much of the public crypto that I'm using, how much do I have? Because a lot of these public blockchains, most of the time when you do peer-to-peer electronic transactions with another person, they can see how much crypto you have. I know that's a problem with BTC for sure. You know, I remember one time when I exchanged my US dollars for BTC so I can exchange it for Monero, the guy I got the freaking BTC from had 26,000 BTC. So, I mean,
could you explain that again? I don't follow.
So on a public ledger, if you've ever went to what is it called? Blockchain? Yeah, like blockchain.com or something like that. What you can do, or Blockscan, I think it's called. So what you do is you put your wallet address in there, right? Your public key. And it'll show you who sent you, what wallet like, let's say you're getting BTC and you're trying to buy BTC with US dollars. So somebody has to trade you a BTC from like a whale, right? And if you go in there, you could actually see how much BTC that person has who did that peer-to-peer electronic transaction. So the person I got my Bitcoin from, BTC, actually had 26,000. So now if I wanted to take that wallet address and put it back in a block scan, I can see who he or she or this group of individual is doing transaction with. And then I can take their wallet and keep going down the chain. And eventually I could figure out who this person or this group of individuals are by pretty much figuring out what their IP address is. And then I can pinpoint exactly where they are. Boom, done.
Right.
And that's my only concern with public blockchains. Now, I don't think public blockchains are bad. Now, I think public blockchains are great for health records. Absolutely. Because if I'm getting the surgery in Portugal and my records are in the United States, how the hell are they supposed to get to Portugal? Well, we can use a blockchain to get them over there faster. That's great. I'm all for that. If you want to put vaccination, I know people in the Monero computer are going to kill me when they hear this podcast. But still, if you want to put people's vaccination to make sure everybody's been vaccinated, you can use a public blockchain for that as well. Great.
I know. There's a company that does that, or they offered that. And I thought, well, if people want to do that, they can do that. And then I had some friends that said, oh no, those people are, they're trying to be overlords. And I thought, well, maybe not. Maybe they just want to do that so they could have that accountability. I mean, I see what you mean. Like if you were to put the whole financial system on a public blockchain, then that would mean that people could be tracking anyone anywhere.
Right. And you could become a target. Like you could be walking down the street, like you say, you do a lot of walking. You could be walking down the street and all of a sudden somebody knows your wallet address and they're like, oh, that's Rory right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm about to kidnap her and take all of her crypto.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
All too simple.
So something like Monero to me is, I think, what the world needs. Now, I'm not saying it has to be Monero. It could be something else. But I think the tech that Monero has works. I mean, it's shown that, the oligarchs, the IRS, chain house, they hate Monero with a passion. They're trying to crack it. They've been working so hard trying to do it. But the devs keep working on it to make sure it's protected and protect its users, which is great. Now, I know there's a project called Haven. It's supposed to be a decentralized, same tech as Monero, but it's supposed to be a stable coin. Now, unfortunately, that project has been halted because cryptos have fallen like a rock. But like I tell people, this ain't even close to what the bear market's going to be. This is just the beginning of it. We're not even in the midst of a bear market yet. We're still having pumps and dumps right now. But 2023, 2024, oh boy, you about to see it.
Right. Oh, and that brings us to the halving, or halvening, as we might say. So the block reward will be cut in half again in 2024. And this is why I think that the mass scale of Bitcoin Satoshi vision with the power of microtransactions is so on point with the Satoshi vision, because eventually the subsidy will be gone and it will be the fees generated by transactions which continue the incentive process on into the anons, the future eons. So is that something that Monero is about as well, or is that just BSV, that high scale with tiny transaction fees, but within blocks that are packed full of these, it all adds up?
So Monero, from what I understand, and I know people at Monero are way smarter than me when it comes to tail emissions and stuff like that. We just had our tail emission just last month, which was 0.6 reward XMR for anybody that's a miner. And I know that's going to continue to go up. But the transaction fees has always been low. It's like built into the protocol, keep it like a fraction of 1 penny. So, which is great. But like I said, as we do these upgrades with ring signatures getting bigger, it's going to make the blockchain bigger, which means it could increase the transaction fees. So what we need to do is we definitely need to look at ZK snarks, which is something I'm very for, which is something you see on Zcash, which will keep the block size at a nice size, not getting gigantic or the blockchain getting too gigantic, but it'll keep it at a nice size to where the point where we will be able to keep the transactions low. So when more people come on the network, transactions stay pretty low, and then it'll still do what it's always done, be peer-to-peer electronic digital cash.
Okay, so it's a different system, Monero. It's not like Bitcoin.
No.
Okay.
I mean, and it is proof of work, but like it has other aspects built into the protocol itself. Which okay. I'm not deep into that. That's some like expert you definitely have to ask on the mining side that knows more about Monero on the mining side, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. We're always ever learning. And that's what I love about Bitcoin, is that every one of us is constantly learning and challenged and developing, because there's so much to it, and there's so much kind of confusion out there that everyone everywhere has more to learn. Now, one thing you did mention was Ethereum. So I just wanted to ask you that. I know we're coming up to our time goal for the day, but did you say that you wanted to remove anything that you had from Ethereum? And if so, why would you do that?
Ethereum. The thing about Ethereum is that I said that I think Ethereum ultimately will overtake BTC in the long run. I really, truly believe that. I still stick to that notion. But as far as removing things from Ethereum, it's because Ethereum is so open that everybody and their mama can see what you're doing on Ethereum. So if you have stuff on Ethereum, I would be very cautious. It is possible the SEC may come after Ethereum, because remember, the SEC has said that Bitcoin is the only commodity. So if Ethereum gets challenged by the SEC, it pretty much takes the entire altcoin space down with it. Because a lot of these altcoins move when Ethereum moves. When Ethereum goes up in price, a lot of the altcoins pump. When Ethereum goes down in price, a lot of these altcoins go down in price. So if Ethereum gets hit by the SEC, I'm just warning people, be very careful with Ethereum, because I know a lot of people are starting to put money in Ethereum because they're thinking about the merge, going from proof of work to proof of stake. which I have no problem with proof of stake. I mean, Darkfire is going to be on proof of stake, and I have no problem with that cryptocurrency that's coming out in the future either. But you got to be very careful. You got to watch the SEC here because they're coming after a lot of these crypto exchanges. They've already gave the mandate. Either remove these securities off your platform or we're coming after you. Now, people have stated, you've heard it in the BTC community, you've heard it all over the crypto webs. A lot of people think Ethereum's a security. Okay, I'm not one of those people that think it is. I'm one of the very few Monero people that don't think it's a shitcoin either. A lot of people in the Monero community does. I do not. I think it has a lot of utility. NFTs. It has decentralized apps. It pretty much powers everything it's supposed to do. I think Ethereum is going to be the new internet. Personally, that's just me. But honestly, be very careful with Ethereum. You know, with the SEC looming right now, there's no regulation. I do think regulation is coming. I think it's going to be a global regulation by the world government, but that's just me. You can do your own research on that, but that's just me. I feel regulation is coming before the end of this year. Globally across the board, we're going to finally know the rules and regulations of crypto, and that's going to be that. I know people on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and even on Telegram have DM'd me, even in sessions, if you haven't used that app, it's a very good privacy app, by the way, have said they don't want regulation at all. They want the Wild West to stay where it is. We don't need regulation. I don't agree with that at all. I think we need regulation because there's too many scams in here. There's too many people getting ripped off. And look at Elon Musk. He's now in a court battle with Doge investors because they're pissed that Doge is at like 7 cents. Hasn't pumped since his night on Saturday Night Live. So, yeah, we got problems.
Right. Yeah, I think also with that, I mean, I think someone making offhand comments on Twitter is not a reliable source for making financial decisions.
I agree. But you got a lot of people that listen to these people that have the check mark on Twitter. 100%.
Now, have you been on Twitch at all where your messages are etched on the blockchain, Twitch?
Yeah, I have been on Twitch, but for some reason my Twitch doesn't work. It gives me an error message. So I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, good. Yeah, just let me know. Tell me, what is it exactly?
Like, it just gives me an error message. Just like shows up when I'm typing a status and I try to post it, it just gives me an error message. So I don't know why.
Okay, yeah, because I remember I used to have a bit of an error message, and then I was at the conference, the CoinGeek conference, and I met the Twitch people, and then they helped me. You know, they sorted it out. They helped me live tech support on site. So I know what you mean. It's like, oh no, there could be a technical difficulty. But they have done an upgrade. They went from twitch.io or twitch.app to twitch.com. So maybe try to go to twitch.com. And then also you can go to the Twitch Twitter handle and DM them and talk about your problem. And then they could give you some tech support as well. But those guys, they're very innovative. And even though I've done experiments where I have gone on Twitch and asked a question, and then I have not received any response. But when I go on Twitter and ask the same question, then I get responses from the Twitch people. So I think, yeah, this is interesting. Like, we got to get more engagement. I saw something about Twitch Cast, that Manifestable was playing some poker games. They're hanging out in the Castleborn virtual world, and they were playing poker, and then they were streaming it on a Twitch Cast. So later today, after the Women of BSV live stream, I'm going to pop in there and then edit this video. Then I will go and check out this Twitch Cast stuff and discover that. And then tonight we have a BSV meetup in Atlanta. So I maximize my day off. I'm a day off maximalist.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one maximalism I am, and that is silver.
Tell me about it. Why?
Well, it started when I was 9 years old. My dad bought me some silver JF Kennedy coins, and he still has them at his home. But yeah, I always been into silver. My dad always told me buy silver no
Hmm.
matter what because it's cheap, it's valuable, and you can always get it. And pretty much silver's in everything you need in life.
Mm.
So I have finally come out publicly and admitted that I'm a maximalist, but I'm a maximalist when it comes to silver.
That's great. Okay, so let me tell you now. Let me show you my coins. Okay, so where are my coins? Here they are. Here's some coins. No? Okay. So KP Dad, he mints coins and they're in silver. So I bought, can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I bought this one. This
Okay.
has the BSV logo on it.
Yeah, I
And
see
it's
that.
all in silver. And then it has a little joke. It's got the core coin on the other side. So I thought, oh, that's clever. I want to get that one. But you can go to KP Dad's website. I think it's Bitcoin with a Z, Bitcoins.
Gotcha. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Are you going to the NFT conference in Miami in November or what?
I hope so. I would love to. I'm, going to manifest that. So that's my goal, to be there with you and with my friend Robin DeLisser and Kurt Wuckert Jr. and maybe Alex Agut will be living there by then in Miami, as well as the CEO of Twetch, Elon Moist. I think his name is Josh Petty, and many others will be there in Miami. So I hope to be there as well.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yes. But in the meantime, I wanted to show you, not only am I a day off maximalist, but I'm also a chocolate maximalist.
Oh,
So
wow.
you can see I have my 2 cents in chocolate coins ready. But let me check a book. Okay. So we have a guide to United States coins. And you had said that it was the JFK coin. I have the Eisenhower coin here in the bookmark.
Uh-huh.
But I guess was yours the silver dollar?
Yeah.
Here it is, Liberty.
Yep. That's it.
So this left an impression on you then.
Yes, it did. Because I think JFK was one of the best presidents. Is that everybody knows in America? I don't like governments pretty much at all. I don't trust them at all.
Yes. And I think when this coin came out, it was even a bit controversial, wasn't it?
I think so. I believe so.
Mm-hmm. And same with Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
There was a minting of coins then as well. So yeah, there's so much to learn. And I am grateful to you, Nitemare, to be my guest today and for us to make this podcast together. I hope it's the start of many more to come.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to be a guest back on your show, but I want to ask you one more question before we get out of here.
Yes, of course.
What other cryptos do you have? What do you have? And what I mean by that is, what other cryptos do you invest in besides BSV?
I don't invest in anything but BSV.
Oh, wow.
I started out just using Bitcoin Cash, and I bought some things on Purse.io. And then when everybody left, then I went to BSV. And yeah, I just work in BSV. My goal is to let everybody become aware of the vision of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Satoshi vision, and to discuss these topics with friends and family and to network peer-to-peer. because I believe in the power of one person is very strong, and that's for every person. So I can do whatever I can and give my energy here because I'm a powerful person. So I want to give my energy where it's meaningful to me. And I've taken a great risk to just jump off and go into this scene with nothing set up or prepared. And slowly but surely, I'm developing new skills, learning and growing. And I believe that I will be able to be fully self-sufficient working in this scene, working in this industry of BSV, whether I build my own business as a recruiter, build my own recruiting business, or if I were to work for a company in BSV, then I could let go of my day jobs and just be even more of a powerhouse. But until then, I'll just be a day off maximalist and eat a lot of chocolate.
I respect it. I mean, for me, I do invest in other digital assets. I mean, Monero is my currency that I prefer to use. But when it comes to investing in this digital space, I think for me, Tron, always number one, Mana, and then ADA. Those three. Shiba Inu will get back in my freaking portfolio, people, 2023. But right now, we're going to wait until all of this chaos ensues this fall. So, and then we'll come back to Shiba Inu.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to follow your podcast every week now, and then continue to learn and grow with you as we have more conversations together.
All right, perfect. And thank you for that. Always, when you're in crypto or any investment, make sure you do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Rory. Don't listen to any of these people on Twitter that have check marks. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusion. And if you decide it's great for your portfolio, then add it in, regardless of what people say about it.
Thank you. Yes, this is not investment advice. We are merely curious and in conversation. So thank you, dear Nitemare. You're a dream come true.
Thank you, Roy, for having me.
So if you enjoyed this episode, please do like and subscribe. And we look forward to being in the moment with you again soon.